Hello, people of the internet. My name is Jaden, and on the 20th of July, which is in a day for me, the reading rush begins. I attempted the stay-at-home reading rush, the 4-day one, and failed miserably. But I'm attempting the week-long one, and I have chosen, stupidly, 7 books. This is only 6 of them because I don't have the 7th one with me currently, but yeah, so these are the ones that I have. I will insert a clip of me talking about that one when I get it, but I don't have it with me currently. These are the books that I'm using. I have stupidly decided to go with 7 books, but a lot of them overlap, a lot of them double up. So some of them count for multiple prompts, some of them only count for like 2 prompts, but some of them only count for 1, so I have to read those, but you know. So without further ado, because I need to start scripting videos because I am just rambling, let's get to the meat of this. Let's get straight to the books. So the first prompt the first challenge was read a book that matches the colour of your birdstone. Now I was born in September, so my birdstone is sapphire, and you think that would be really easy. It's a blue book. There's so many blue books in the world. I don't own any of them, apparently. The only blue books that I own are An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green, which I just finished, so I'm not going to read again immediately after. Although I would kind of like to, but no, I've literally just finished that book. Catching Fire, the second book in the Hunger Games trilogy, which I don't want to read the second book in a trilogy, especially when it's my least favourite book in that trilogy. And a book that I didn't particularly like when I read it the first time, so why would I want to read it again? So instead, I have chosen a reread. Now, usually I like to use these to blitz through my TBR piles, I like the idea of doing that, but this is a reread. This will be the 3rd time that I've read this. Obviously, it's The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. Now, this is quite a thick book. This is not, it's not like a big book, but it's not exactly perfect for a readathon. 313 pages. But because it's a reread, and it's not even like a second time reread, it's going to be a 3rd time reread. I think it's the 3rd. It might actually be the 4th time. But no, I think it's the 3rd. I think it'll be the 3rd. Yeah. So it's going to be a 3rd time reread. Then I should blitz through it because I already know it quite well. So yeah, that's book number 1. Birdstone, Sapphire, Blue, The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. The second prompt was a book that starts with the word the. Now, obviously, The Fault in Our Stars already starts with the word the. So, if I don't read this one, but I do read this, we're good. But my actual book I have selected for this prompt, because I did select a book for every single prompt, because I'm stupid like that. But my actual book for this prompt is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Because I bought this back in, I think, January. Back in January. I bought this back in January, when we were all still so hopeful that this year was going to be a good year. And first of all, I love how floppy this book is. But I've not got around to reading it yet. I said I was going to read it a while ago, but then the reading slump hit. It is a classic. The best idea for a readathon. I don't know, because I don't read a lot of classics, and this is a lot of the very like old-timey English, and I'm dyslexic, so it's probably not the best decision, but it is quite short. It's only 230 pages. So maybe? We don't know. We don't know, but again, if I don't read this, I have a backup in this one and another book in this pile. So if I don't read this, I can still hit the challenge. But I would like to read this, so because I really, really want to read. I've wanted to read this for years. This has been on my TBR for a very long time, even before I owned this copy, so fingers crossed. Next prompt is read a book that inspired a movie you've already seen. By the way, I've got my laptop behind you with the prompts on it in case I forget what they are. But a prompt for a book for a movie you've already seen. Now, we've got Goodnight, Mr. Tom by Michelle. I keep wanting to read it as Michael because I'm dyslexic, but Michelle Magorian? Probably Magorian. Yeah, I watched this film back in primary school when we were learning about World War II. And like how, because in primary school we learned about how World War II affected this country. In case you didn't know, I'm in England. So we learned about how World War II affected this country, the country that we live in. And then in high school, we only learned about like everything else, you know, all of the bad stuff, the really bad stuff that happened that I don't want to talk about right now. But yeah, so this book is, I remember just watching the child, it said the word child in the back of the book. I remember watching the film when I was in primary school. We were learning about like evacuees and stuff, because in the UK, I don't know if it happened in other countries, probably didn't. It might have done, I don't know. But in England, children who lived in the city were sent to live with other families in the countryside, because cities were more likely to get like bombed than the country. So this is about a little boy who gets evacuated to the countryside to live with an old man called Mr. Tom. And I don't remember a lot about the film, I'll be honest, but I would really, really like to read this book and then watch the film back again as an adult and see how I feel about it now. I really keep like leaning in real close, and I could just like sit back like this and you still see me, voice me even better. But yeah, so that's a very exciting one. I really, really want to read this. Very excited for this. The next prompt number 4. Read a book. No, read the first book you touch. I've chosen Secrets for the Mad by Dodie. Now, I technically didn't touch this book first. What I decided to do was I decided to put a bunch of books that I either have been wanting to reread for a while and been putting off, or books that I haven't read yet and have been putting off reading, and I put them into a random like wheel generator like thing, and selected the book that way. So I will insert the clip here. Okay, so I know that this isn't technically touching the book, but this is the only way that I felt like I could do it in a truly random way. So I've got a random wheel generator. Some of these match for others, some of these match for other challenges, some of these are just random ones I throw in because I haven't read them yet and really want to. Like It Devours and If We Were Villains. I've owned these for ages and I haven't read them yet and I really, really want to. The rest, these three will be rereads, and that's just a book that is fairly good for a readathon because it's but it's a collection of stories, essentially. So we have got Alice in Wonderland, If We Were Villains, It Devours, Secrets for the Mad, Urban Legends, and Warm Bodies. Let us spin. I have to control. There. Let us spin. Come on. Something good, something I can read. Heck yeah! That's great. That is awesome. So yeah. So that's how I chose this. I actually have read this. This is a reread. This is the second reread. There are 3 rereads in this TBR, by the way. But this is a reread. I read this in, I think, 2017, 2018 when it came out. And this is actually a really, really good book for a readathon because whilst it looks quite thick, a lot of it is just like small bits of writing that she'd done, or like lyrics to her songs and like cool like bits of art. So the first time I actually read this in a day. I kind of did myself a mini 24-hour readathon with just this book because some pages have like quite big font too. So I'm really, really looking forward to rereading this because it was absolutely gorgeous the first time I read it, and yeah, so I can blitz through this really, really quickly, I feel like. So that's going to be a whole lot of fun to get back into because I loved this book the first time I read it. Up next, prompt number 5 is read a book completely outside of your house. I have chosen The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Now, this book is also blue, so I'm thinking that I could maybe count this as... Now, this book is also blue, so I'm thinking that this could maybe count as a book that's the colour of my birthstone. It's not quite the right shade of blue, but it's blue. So, also, I love this edition. Like, I've seen the American cover of Perks, and it's so dull. But I loved it. This is the UK edition, and I love it. But yeah, The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. Yeah, obviously, as you can tell by the tabs, this has been read before. This is another, I've read it multiple times, reread. I've also read this twice. First time I read it, I was 15. I loved it. Second time I read it, I was 18. I loved it even more the second time. So now I'm going to be reading it again at 20. So now I am going to be reading it again at the age of 20. And we're going to see if it holds up again. I picked this one for a book you can read outside your house because it is quite short. It is... We'll include the epilogue. It is 231 pages, which is quite short. So I'm thinking I could probably read this like in my garden, or I might go for a walk and like sit at a park bench and read it for a bit. You know. But yeah, so I went for something short so that I could spend as little time outside as possible, you know, with the whole global pandemic situation we got going on. But also, like, I can just, like, sit in my garden. My garden doesn't get a whole lot of sunlight, and it gets quite cold in my garden at, like, mid-afternoon. So, yeah. Go with something short and sweet to read outside in the garden or in a park or something, but we'll see how that goes. I'm very excited for reading this again. I hope I get around to it. And you'll notice it's another The book. So again, if I don't read one of the other 2, then I can still hit the challenge. We're thinking about these things. And last but not least, we have prompt number 7. Read a book that takes place in a different continent from where you live. Technically, technically 2, maybe 3, 2 of these books already count. For this because I said in America, I live in England, so Europe. But for this one, because like I said, I chose. But for this one, because like I said, I chose a book for every single. Because like I said, I chose a book for every single one of the prompts I have chosen. They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. I got this forever ago. I honestly don't remember when I got this. But I got it so long ago. And I just really, really want to read it. And I don't know why I've put it off for so long. Also, I love the UK cover of this. It's stunning. Like, I could look at this forever. I love, like, really bright, bold colours on covers. Like, one of my favourite things is I love the UK covers for David Leviathan's books, because they're all, like, neon. Like, they're very, very bright. And this is a very bright shade of orange with a nice blue spine. It's very pretty. It's, like, reflective, too. But yeah, I actually had to Google where this is set because I don't know, and I really wanted to read this. But yeah, this is set in New York City, which is in America, which is not in Europe. So, yeah, it counts as it's set in a continent that I don't live in. Because I don't own many books that are set in the UK. I don't know, because out of this pile, I don't know where this is set. Don't know what country this is set. This is non-fiction, so it's not even technically set anywhere, but Dodie is English, so it's mostly in England. And this book is English, so for some reason I chose at least 2 guaranteed English books for this readathon. But if I don't read this, but I do read either Perks or Tifios, then it still counts for the challenge, but I would love to read this. Again, is it the most sensible readathon pick? Definitely not. Because it is 368 pages. So I think this is the longest book that I've chosen. Let me just check. That one's shorter. And that one's shorter. So yeah, this is the longest book that I've chosen. Which doesn't film with confidence. And then I get around to it. So this is definitely a very overly ambitious. TBR. But I am very, very much looking forward to it. I should stop flicking through this book because I keep I like to look at these pages that it's got, because you see it's got like the dark lines on there, but whenever I do that, usually I'm spoiling myself. I've done that with so many books where I've gone, ooh, there's like cool things, I want to see what that is, and some like illustration that spoils the ending of the book for me or something. I've done that many a time in my life. But yeah, so it took me forever to actually get around to making and probably editing and uploading this TBR pile, because I'm really stupid and I kept changing my mind about what books I wanted to read. But yes, this is 6 of the 7 I'll either have inserted the clip of the 7th book that I chose earlier on in the video, or I'll tack it on the end now. I'll decide when I'm editing. But that was my TBR pile. I am so excited for this readathon. Am I going to do all 7 books? Probably not. 7 books in 7 days and my dyslexic ass. Probably not going to happen, but we're really going to try. Also, I am going to be doing the I will be doing the reading vlog challenges. I don't know if they're doing Instagram challenges this year. I'll have to check, but if they are doing them, they will be on my Instagram. The link will be in the description for this video. But yeah, it's going to be so much fun. Oh, I can't wait. I am hype. I am so excited because there's some rereads in here that I've wanted to do for ages and kept putting off. There are first reads in here that I've wanted to do for a really long time. This was a very difficult TBR pile to pick because obviously I would have wanted to go to the library under a normal circumstance, but my local library is still closed. My country kind of started opening up a bit more a couple of weeks ago, but my local library is still shut, which is completely understandable and I get entirely. But yeah, I would have liked to pick some more books outside of ones that the ones I own, but it's the best I could do. I'm gonna have a great time this week. This is gonna be a good week for me. I won't be able to keep up with any Twitter sprints because I don't have Twitter, but I am probably going to be floating around in some of the Instagram lives when they happen. This is going to be my first ever week-long readathon. The 4-day one wasn't great because I didn't make the best decision. It was a week where it was a time when I was quite busy. I had a lot of things to do. Didn't really have a lot of time for reading, but this week I have nothing going on. I actually went out to see some friends a couple of days ago, socially distanced and very safe and looking after them and looking after everyone else and myself. But because of that, I've made the decision to go back into total self-isolation pretty much, outside of like occasionally nipping down to the shop if I have to, for things. But yeah, I've gone into pretty much entire full self-isolation for at least 2 weeks. It's been about a week now. But yeah, for at least 2 weeks. So I have nothing going on. So I've got plenty of time to read all these bad boys. They're so pretty. But yeah. So I will see you in my next video, which will be my reading vlog for the Reading Rush 2020. I cannot wait. Bye!